Bitcoin has finally broken out of that $19,000 trading range, broken through 20,000 and touched on 21,000. Are we finally out of the bear market, or are we going to see more pain ahead? We're going to talk about what catalyst has caused the market to move, and where I think there's still a little bit more pain ahead before we can totally see a full-on bull market coming back for Bitcoin and all the other altcoins that are out there. So we'll take a look at the Bitcoin price chart, and we can see that on the 25th, we finally broke out of that price range, 20,000, and we've touched on 21,000 today. What's caused this increase in the market is on the 25th, the UK lawmakers vote to recognize crypto as regulated financial instruments. The lower house of parliament voted in favor of adding crypto to the scope of activities to be regulated via the proposed Financial Services and Markets Bill, which already seeks to extend payment rules to stablecoins. I'm going to play this clip of Kevin O'Leary talking about why we need to see regulation in the crypto markets.
So we are being kept out of institutional capital, and Bitcoin is not going to trade above $22,000 until we get policy. Interestingly enough, and this is a personal speculation, if this stablecoin transparency bill was passed first before the Digital Commodities Act, which is the other big initiative right now, and Jeremy, wherever he is, was the guy that got that done, it'd be like bringing Led Zeppelin back, and he would be the lead singer. Because if that happens, and if it happens, I speculate that all crypto assets would appreciate overnight by 10%, because it would signal the move for policy.
So as Kevin O'Leary says, institutional investors can't really get into the crypto markets till we see regulation. So this UK lawmakers voting to make crypto overall as a regulated financial instrument starts that process going through. What we're waiting for that Kevin O'Leary was talking about is this House bill, the Stablecoin Transparency Act, that was referred to the House committee way back in March and is just sitting waiting. So the bill requires a stablecoin issuer to hold all reserves associated with each fiat currency-backed stablecoin they issue in certain government securities, fully collateralized security repurchase agreements, and US dollars or other non-digital currency, so that a stablecoin is fully backed by a US dollar. I have a link to the full Kevin O'Leary video posted below if you want to go watch the rest of that video. It's really informative. The main resistance we've got coming up, of course, is the next Fed meeting. And the next Fed meeting is actually coming up November 2nd, so a week from today when I'm making this video. And the Fed will set rates on November 2nd. Fixed income markets imply a 0.5 to 0.75 point hike at that meeting. So if we do see a 0.75 percentage hike, it's going to cause equity markets to probably tumble a bit, and possibly crypto, which usually follows the equity markets now, the stock market. We're probably going to see a dip in that again, but it could just completely recorrect off of that bottom. If so, then we're probably looking good at being off of the bottom and not dropping unless there is some other black swan event or some other huge company crypto company that goes bankrupt. Although I think we've cleaned out most of the DeFi companies that really just didn't have sound business practices behind them. Then after the November 2nd Fed meeting, there will be one more at the end of the year on December 14th. So we'll be keeping an eye on that date as well. And they're currently anticipating 0.25 to 0.5 percentage point move on December 14th, which would put rates ending the year in a range of 4 to 4.5%. Currently, we're at around 3%, and you can see when we'd been sitting at zero all the way back from when we dropped it during COVID in March 16th, dropped it all the way to zero, and it's been sitting there all the way till March 2022. So we sat there for 2 years, and then they have been aggressively increasing that interest rate, and we're kind of expecting that maybe the ceiling will be 4.5 to 5%, that we might see a couple more raises in interest rates in the beginning first quarter of 2023. So when we talk about the Fed flipping, we're looking at them stopping the increase of interest rates to try to push the inflation down, and either keeping things consistent for a while or starting to drop the rates, starting to print money again, putting more money into the system. And that's when we'll see the equities market and the cryptocurrency market really start to increase. But what I'm excited about is if we look at the market now and we look at the max of where we've been, we can see the 4-year cycle that we go through. And if we go back 8 years to 2013, we can see how in December we hit that. We were hitting highs actually around, I believe it hit 12 or 1300 as a peak, but around 1100 before it tumbled back. And granted, right then it was a tiny market at that point in time. But if we go out then to we expand that back out to the full span, and we go to 4 years later and we hit that high in December of 2017, where we actually hit around 20,000 as a high, and in November of 2021 where we hit that high. We're looking at repeating cycles, and we can see that if we zoom in on the last cycle, that we had a high in December. And if we look at where we're at right now, it's October 27th. It could be that we've already had the bottom, or it could be that we do get one more drop as people sell off at the end of the year for tax purposes. So that's another thing to look at is, are people dumping coins at a loss just to take the tax loss? Because there will be some of that will be happening near the end of the year. You know, it looked like that was the bottom back in October of 2018, and we were at 6,400, and we did a drop all the way right to about 3,000. So it cut that in half again. So that's the thing that's a possibility that we have to keep in mind, and that we're not necessarily looking at 19,000 as the full bottom. If we expand this out, so we can see where the high was. There's other resistance points that people are looking at around the 13,000 mark, because of that being basically the next point. If crypto does drop below around 18,000, it could fall all the way to 13,000 before heading back up. The other thing to keep in mind is that if we look at some of the other currencies, we can see that Ethereum's had a huge climb in the last 7 days. But as we go down and look at some of our smaller currencies, we've got some that have not moved very much. And that's generally the case with the altcoins. They're not going to tend to move as quickly. And when they have another downturn, they tend to fall further than what Bitcoin or Ethereum will fall. And that's where you have your opportunity to get into some really good coins at a really low price. And we're going to focus on looking at a lot of those other altcoins on this channel and finding those gems amongst all the thousands of coins that are out there. So before you start dumping money into Bitcoin, I would say wait until November 2nd and see what the Fed does. If we have a huge dip then, that might be a good time to buy. But we've also got December 14th when the Fed will announce if it's going to raise rates again, which is also expected. And we also have to look at, are people going to be dumping crypto at the end of the year, driving the price down as people are taking losses for tax purposes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button, and we'd love it if you'd subscribe to the channel. We're going to look at a lot of these altcoins and determine which ones we think have huge potential for the future and have much better return rate of what you could get with either Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of the top 10 cryptos. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.